Good morning, everybody. Pardon my tardiness, but I just got back from Atlanta, celebrating my nephew's, one of my favorite nephews' wedding, and my grandson's baseball games that we got a chance to witness. And one of my grandsons, got the game ball for being the best player on the field. He stopped a home run and then turned around and got a triple. So he got the game ball for being the baddest player on the field. He's 6 years old. His big brother, 9 years old. He did his thing, but of course he didn't get the game ball. But my nephew, Keith, got a real good bride there. So I wish the best for him. The only thing I could give him was 2 words: yes, dear. You practice that, get it down pat, he'd be all right. Lexington, which we were talking about on the set before I switched to live, is very important, and I was happy to see that one of my, it's called grandnephews, he eat eggs. They can say 6 eggs a day. So I was happy to share with him about the color of the eggs is what you want to look for. Okay, if it's bright yellow, it's missing some nourishment versus that orange tint to it, which is one way you can tell you got eggs with some lecithin in it. And every now and then we get opportunity to share some information with our young folks, and that they're open to hear. And even older folks or the people just catch them at moments when they're just open to hear the information that's coming through. Because a lot of times people have a hard time realizing that we are under attack, but if you're in war and somebody attack your food and your water and your air, that's you under siege, and that's exactly what's going on in this country. And there's a lot of times I could say it's for greed, but it's also for control. And there's an article I was reading from Dr. McCullough's, and how the Washington Post had contacted him. But he's smart enough to know they will take away his answers and twist them around to make it look like he's a bad guy, when he's basically telling the truth about vaccinations. And it's interesting that the founder of what is it? Google. The founder of Google. So I should just get this right, because it was interesting. The founder of Amazon, the CEO Jeffrey Bezos, bought the Washington Post in 2013. And he was like, well, what would a Amazon founder, why would he be interested in purchasing a major respected newspaper? Well, you have to check out yourself, but these guys they're working on a monopoly and they're doing a good job at it. And if you can control the mind, you can control the body. And the Washington Post is a good start to do just that. And so just saying, beware. Okay. One of the subjects that I did want to talk about today was teenagers and people in their 20s and 30s. It's like the fastest growing group who's getting high blood pressure and sugar diabetes and diseases that people usually didn't get into their 50s and 60s or 70s. And here, this article here from Dr. McCullough talking about the link between fast food and teenage depression. The food tastes good. It's designed to taste good, but some of the horrors that they do to the food and the ground that the food is grown on. I always say the food you eat is only as good as the ground is grown on. And in America, they don't nourish the soil. The plants need 3 different nutrients to grow. Our body needs 90 different nutrients. You know, and the majority of those being the trace minerals. Okay. So, but next week, what article I really wanted to share with you is the benefits of noni. Okay. But I want to take the whole hour to do just that. It's interesting how when I looked up what they call the MEG, which is the medical website, they had a list of harmful side effects of noni. But if you go to the PDR, they got a list of about 10 or 15 benefits of the noni. And then the PDR is physician desk reference, okay? But those benefits are coming from the Tahitian noni juice, the one we've been representing since 2001. Was that 18 years now, okay? This is remarkable. So that gives you an example that not all noni juices are the same. The Tahitian noni juice is the one that give you these health benefits that done all these tests. Matter of fact, one of my relatives was smoking, and we were sharing with them taking an ounce of Tahitian noni juice every day for 2 days straight, or like 16, 1 ounce servings a day for 2 days straight. People have done that and cut the cravings for cigarettes, the physical cravings. If the teenagers were to take Tahitian noni juice with all the benefits of it, we'll see what Dr. McCullough has to say about these teenagers and the depression. Hopefully we can get through that. But you can always give me a call at 586-757-DIET. Again, that's 586-757-3438 or 366-DIET, 313-366-3438. Or you can hit me up on the cell phone. It's 313-600-8532. Researchers at University of Alabama at Birmingham analyzed the excretion of sodium and potassium in the urine of 84 urban low-income adolescents. Higher levels of sodium in the urine can be an indication of a diet high in sodium, such as processed foods and salty snacks. Low levels of potassium is indicative of a diet lacking in fruits and vegetables and other healthy potassium-rich foods. Higher sodium and lower potassium excrete rates were associated with more frequent symptoms of depression at follow-up 1.5 years later. It's possible that eating food high in sodium and low in potassium may lead to depression by negatively influencing neurotransmitters and neurofunctionals during a time that is particularly vulnerable. Poor diet could also influence depression by disturbing the gut microbiome, which would further influence brain function. We know these things, but just to see, it's important to keep aware of what's going on around us, to be mindful. Maybe if you get an opportunity, you can share some light with somebody else. So that's one reason we share these articles once a week with you, in the hopes that you would share with others. In the United States, an estimate 3.2 million adolescents between the age of 12 and 17 suffer from depression. defined as having at least one major depressed episode in a year. This accounts for 13.3% of adolescents who experience a period of at least 2 weeks with a depressed mood, loss of interest in daily activities, and other symptoms such as problems with sleep, appetite, energy, concentration, or feeling of self-worth. Depression among adolescents is on the rise, increased by 30% in the last 10 years. Many factors may be blamed, but one that continues to fly under the radar is diet, particularly an unhealthy one based on processed food and fast foods. So, I want you to talk about that. Okay. Why? Well, besides the money, it's the poison that's in that food. I know the guy who did that diet on Mickey D's in February. He was lucky that it was 28 days in that month, because his doctor, after 2 or 3 weeks, begged him to stop that McDonald's diet because it was literally killing him. Junk food diet links to depression in teens. Researchers at the University of Alabama and Birmingham looked into the role two dietary factors play in the symptoms of depression among adolescents. In this case, African American teens who may be at increased risk of both unhealthy diet and depression, they analyzed the excretion of sodium and potassium in the urine of 84 urban low-income adolescents. Higher levels of sodium in the urine can be an indication of a diet high in sodium, such as processed food and salty snacks. A low level of potassium, meanwhile, is indicative of a diet lacking in fruits, vegetables, and other healthy potassium-rich foods. See, bananas is known to be real high in potassium. The T-Shinoni juice is real high in potassium. Blackstrap molasses is a good source of potassium. We wonder how people would survive back during slavery time. Well, they was taking blackstrap molasses. Okay. Plus, they was outside all the time. Wasn't doing nothing they wanted to do, picking cotton. But you getting that vitamin D from the sun, looking out for you. As might be expected, higher sodium and low potassium excretion levels were associated with more frequent symptoms of depression at follow-up 1.5 years later. The study was the first to demonstrate relationship between objective indicators of unhealthy diet and subsequent changes in depression symptoms in youth, the study noted. It's possible that eating foods high in sodium and low in potassium may lead to depression by negatively influencing neurotransmitters and neural functions during a time that is particularly vulnerable. They between 12 and 17, adolescents. They still growing, developing the hormones. Some of them are even starting the cycles, growing hair on their face. And they have a diet that doesn't support all these changes that their body is constantly going through. So when B vitamins help keep you cool, calm, and collected. Well, these foods don't have the B vitamins in it. Given the substantial brain development that occurs during adolescence, individuals in this development period may be particularly vulnerable to the effects of diet on the neuromechanisms underlying emotional regulations and depression. This is a quote. The researchers wrote, in addition, poor diet could influence depression by distributing the gut microbiome, which would further influence brain function. That's your friendly bacteria in your gut, what some people call their second brain. And don't forget to add the fact that when people take a 10-minute shower in the tap water and the chlorine with all that fluoride and chlorine going into their bodies, Because the 10-minute shower in tap water is equivalent to drinking a half a gallon of tap water with all the poisons that's in the tap water that gets into your pineal gland, pituitary gland, and it lowers your IQ. So you eating this fast food and then washing your hands, taking baths and showers in this chemical-based waters. It's a wonder that you're surviving depression and poisoning. That's what's going on. Now, of course, there's antidotes for that. One is you get through with your shower, dry off, and then get you some 3% food grade hydrogen peroxide and spray your whole body with that. Rub it in, because it might be cold, but it's spread on your hands, rub it your whole body. Give it 3 to 5 minutes, let it absorb. You can be brushing your teeth or something. And then get you some raw organic coconut oil. Put that over your whole body. Give it 3 to 5 minutes to be absorbed into your body before you finish dressing. It's coconut oil and hydrogen peroxide. It now give you something to fight back the poisonings from the shower. Taking this lady had her husband who had dementia and Alzheimer's, Dr. Mary Newport. She had her husband taking an ounce, 2 tablespoons of raw organic coconut oil every day and got rid of his depression and got rid of his dementia and Alzheimer's. It's food for the brain. So putting that over your cereal or just taking it straight or giving it to the children. Remember, we used to give the children, I was receiving it myself, castor oil, okay? Or Father John, which was made from castor oil and sugar. And I think blackstrap molasses. But it helped run poisons out of your system, but it's also providing potassium and other nourishment for your system. So even though they attack our air, water, and food, there's things we can do to counterattack what they're doing. We can't stop them from trying to poison everybody, but we can spread the word because this is what we do. Look out for one another. Each one teach one. Remember, we changed the whole nation back in the 60s without no cell phones and of course we had the churches back there to meet up and and work together. It's still a good place to exchange ideas with. Unhealthy diet linked to depression of the adults too. While teens may be especially vulnerable to the negative effects of a poor diet, adults too may suffer mentally from a diet based on unhealthy foods. An inflammatory diet, which can influence one high processed foods, was associated with recurring depressive symptoms in women, for starters. Likewise, in 2018, a systematic review and mega-analysis with a total of over 101,000 participants also found an association between pro-inflammatory diet and risk of depression and the rise of depression. People who ate a pro-inflammatory diet were 1.5 times more likely to suffer from depression. Pro-inflammatory. That's fast food. Adopting an anti-inflammatory diet may be an effective intervention or preventive means of reducing depression and symptoms, according to the study. The fast food is staying away from that may prevent depression. Sugar intake, a known anti-inflammatory food, is also especially linked to common mental disorder and depression. Research published in 2001 also found, quote, highly significant correlation between sugar consumption and your annual rate of depression. A quick way to get out of depression is straighten your back up, put your chest out, put a smile on your face, and then try to be depressed. You can't do it. See, that physiology has a link to your brain to tell you what state are you in. Now, if you're looking down, bent all over, yeah, it's easy to be in a depressed state like that. But just changing your physiology. We have these God-given powers. It just didn't come with an owner's manual. Unless you meditate, then you'll get the answers on how to best operate your body mechanisms. This apparatus we call the human body. See, the spirit is what I'm zeroing in on, because that controls the body. But if they can control your spirit with the chlorine, the fluoride, and the poisoning of that getting to your pineal gland, the pituitary gland, your connection to your higher self is weakening. Then you feel alone. You're never alone. God got you. Back to this. Men consuming more than 67 grams of sugar per day were 23% more likely to develop depression over the course of 5 years than those sugar consumption was less than 39.5 grams per day. Several potential mechanisms were discussed for why high sugar diet may influence depression risks, including 1. Sugar may decrease levels of brain-derived neurotropic factors, BDNF, leading to a hypocampia, atopy, and depression. Consuming sugar may increase circulating inflammatory markers, which could lead to a depressed mood. A high sugar diet may cause an exaggerated insulin response, influences hormone levels and your mood. Sugar and addictive life effects could influence dopamine and your mood. High sugar diet may lead to obesity, which could contribute to depression via inflammatory pathways as well as psychological factors. It's an ongoing battle because we eat food sometimes to relax, or it's a source of gratitude. But it's not the only source. It's the one that been practicing, and then people constantly gaining more weight and being more and more depressed. I always encourage people to go somewhere and be still. Meditate. If you're hungry, understand. Most Americans got 97 days of food stored into your body before you starve to death. And Jesus fasted for 40 days. Hunger is a sign your body living off of itself. And what it eats up first is the disease cells. And if you drink a glass of water, wait 20 minutes, most of the time the hunger pain goes away. Because your body is not really hungry. It's thirsty for water. Eating real food is the key for good mental health. You can improve your mood and your mental health by tweaking your diet for the better. Researchers even compiled a list of 5 key dietary recommendations for the prevention of depression. Based on current published evidence, the basic premises is to eat real food. The 5 strategies include: 1. Follow traditional dietary patterns. 2. Increase consumption of fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. 3, eat lots of foods rich in omega-3s. We talked about like the chia seed, the hemp seed, the flax seed, the salmon, the fish. Number 4, replace unhealthy foods with wholesome nutritional foods. And number 5, limit your intake of processed foods, fast foods, commercial baked goods, and sweets and sugar. There are so many alternatives that's popping up in every supermarket I go into now. I'm seeing more and more people becoming more and more conscious, and the supermarkets provide more and more foods that are healthy. Even restaurants we are having an impact that we want healthy foods, and restaurants are providing that on them, constantly providing that on their menu. So we are in control. That last one, sugar is truly essential by cutting it out or cutting it down. See, there's a stevia, there's raw honey, okay, a blackstrap molasses. These are some sweets that God made that's beneficial, and it has its different components in it, so it contributed to absorption and energy for your body rather than causing depression that they talk about here. The last one, sugar, is truly essential, in part because of the additives in processed foods, such as emulsifiers. Previous research show that adding the food emulsifier, CMC, and P80 to the diet leads to low-grade inflammation, obesity, and metabolic abnormalities in mice, while disturbing gut flora. Because your gut and brain communicates versus your gut-brain axle, altering microbes in your gut can influence anxiety and behavior, leading researchers to speculate that consuming emulsifiers may also influence brain health and your behavior. Likewise, in 2015, it was previously found that low concentration emulsifiers, CMC, and P80 induce low-grade inflammation, obesity, and metabolic symptoms in mice. Depression and inflammatory influence one another. Researchers wrote in the American Journal of Psychiatry, adding that in the case of inflammation, depression fans the flames and feasts of the heat. Make sure you're getting enough anti-inflammatory omega-3 in your diet, either from wild-caught Alaskan salmon, sardines, herring, pickerel, artichokes, or high-quality animal-based omega-3 supplement, like the one we have at Healthwise, that's called Salmon Oil Plus. It is also critical for optimal mental health. B vitamins are important, and low levels of B vitamins are common in patients with depression, while B supplements have been known to improve symptoms. Further, in the study of the 9,700 vegetarians, including a small number of vegans, vegetarians were more likely to suffer from depression than meat eaters. Even after adjusting for variable like job status, family history, and number of children, vegetarians tend to have lower intake of omega-3s, and B12, and folic, which could affect depression or risk. In the case of folate, it helps your body produce mood-regulating neurotransmitters. Folate is a B vitamin, including serotonin and dopamine. One 2012 study found people who consumed the most folate had the lowest risk of depression than those who ate the least. Addressing nutrients deficiency as well as optimize your diet are key to mental health and should be first strategies for treating depression. Wow. How to get teens to eat better. It's clear that your mental health depends at least in part on what you eat. less clear on how to get teenagers, a population keen on junk food, to eat better. One simple tip: let teenagers know they are being manipulated by food marketers. Students who read and explosives that reveal the manipulative practices used by marketing companies choose to eat less junk food and drink more water instead of pops. Students who read about junk food industry manipulations also choose healthier food for the remainder of school year, a period of about 3 months. Tapping into teens' natural desire to rebel against authority proved to be an effective way to prompt significant changes in dietary choices. Teaching children to eat right from a young age can either alter their health significantly, even beyond mood and depression. In one study, eating fast food 3 or 4 times a day was associated with an increased risk of severe asthma and emphysema, skin conditions. Children who eat more fast foods also process lower academically because it interferes with the IQ, with test scores gain about 20% lower in children who ate the most fast food compared to those who ate none. One British study also revealed that kids who ate a predominantly processed diet at age 3 had lower IQ scores at age 8.5. Junk food marketing targets youth, yet children are exposed to junk food marketing 27 times a day at home, in public places, even at school. Marketing for sugary drinks, fast food, candy, snack foods were the types most commonly encountered by children in one study. With the continued barbarity of marketing and junk food's highly addictive nature, it's easier for teens to fall into the gap of unhealthy eating. As a result, when a World Health Organization is calling for more protection for children from the effects of junk food and junk food marketing. Wow. Food advertisement and other forms of marketing have been shown to influence children's food preferences, purchasing behavior, and overall dietary behavior. Marketing has also been associated with an increased risk of overweight and obesity in children. The habits children develop early in life may encourage them to adopt unhealthy dietary practices which persist into adulthood, increase the likelihood of overweight, obesity, and associated with health problems such as diabetes and coronary heart disease. Depression, unfortunately, can also be added to those health problems. So in addition to modeling healthy eating behavior for teens by eating right yourself, have a serious conversation about the profit-driven motives behind junk food ads. It might just prompt your teen to rebel in a good way and choose healthier, real foods instead of processed junks. Finally, if your teenager is suffering from depression, keep a close watch for signs that may be contemplating suicide. If there's any doubt, please call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-TALK, 800-273-8255, 800-273-TALK, or call 911. Take your teen to the nearest hospital, emergency department for help. So we got to protect our children. We got to protect our women. We got to protect our men against this fast food epidemic. It's easy, convenient, it's cheap, but there's no way you can get a hamburger. When I started driving in the 60s, you can get a hamburger for $1, but gas was 20 cents a gallon. Now gas is over with $2.50, and you can still get a hamburger for $1. There's no way that could be a hamburger. I had a friend who bought 2 burgers. This was years ago. This is a plain old burger. Ate one, put the other one in his jacket. This was in springtime. He didn't wear the jacket no more until the fall. Pulled out the second hamburger, it was still intact, no mold or anything. Just to be cautious, folks. Drink your water, share the information, give us a call, 586-757-DIET. Again, that's 586-757-3438. And the other one is 313-366-DIET, or 313-366-3438. See you at 3807 East 8 Mile, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 7. Peace and love, and get your 5 hugs a day.